Hi everybody, welcome to week 3. This week we're going to work on language arts and math. So I'm going to start with language arts first, so stay tuned for math coming up later. This week we're talking about drawing inferences, and in your packet you should have this kind of little cheat sheet. I ran out of plastic laminating sheets, so I didn't get to laminate this, sorry. So drawing inferences, remember we worked on that right before we got out of school. It's basically figuring out what the clues are in a sentence or a paragraph or a story and being able to answer some questions about it. So it's kind of like being a detective a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and get started on Monday's assignment. So let me switch over here. Okay, so the first page says, what is my occupation? And occupation means job or career. So we're going to be reading three paragraphs and trying to figure out what job they might be describing. Okay, so number 1 says, I have quite an exciting job that allows me to work with lots of exotic animals. I work hard from the early morning to the end of the day because a lot of critters depend on me. I'm in charge of feeding animals, cleaning habitats, and making sure all the animals are happy and healthy. So think about that for a minute. What is this person's occupation? How do you know? So we know it has to do something with animals. And not just dogs and cats. It says exotic animals, which means animals that aren't usually from the United States. They've come from all over the world. So think about, where is a place that you might have been where you can go and visit these types of exotic animals? Lions, tigers, hippos, elephants. None of those are originally from Oklahoma or the United States. If you're thinking maybe someone that works at the zoo, you're thinking the same thing I am. So we could call it a zookeeper, a zoo worker, just something that has to do with the zoo. So I'm going to say zookeeper because that seems to be the most popular term. Okay, so there's my answer to what is the person's occupation. Now we have to answer, how did we know that? Well, instead of writing it out, if you want, you can just underline your proof, or you can write it on the line. That's kind of up to you. So first thing I'm going to underline is exotic animals. And we talked about that. That's different than just being like a vet or an animal doctor for your regular house pets. All right. So this person is in charge of feeding animals, cleaning habitats. We're going to underline that. We're going to underline happy and healthy. So they really are a caregiver to these animals. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and underline my proof instead of writing it out on the line. If you want to do that, go ahead, or you can write it on the line. All right, let's take a look at number 2. There we go. All right, number 2, I'm an expert on all there is to know about your teeth. My job is to help keep your teeth clean and healthy. In addition to your mom and dad, I am also here to remind you to brush and floss your teeth. All right, so we had someone come to school not that long ago, and she looked with a mirror and a light, looked inside everybody's mouth. Do you remember what kind of job that person had? If you said dentist, you are correct. So a dentist is definitely an expert about teeth. They remind you to keep your teeth clean and healthy. If your teeth aren't healthy, like maybe you have a cavity or you broke a tooth or something is infected, they can go in and fix that. They're teeth doctors. But the most important thing that you can do is floss and brush your teeth. Remember, we've talked about this before. You're supposed to brush your teeth twice a day for 2 minutes. And it's super important that you brush until your teeth are smooth and there's no rough or fuzzy stuff on it. All right, so we're going to put dentist. And they recommend that you go to the dentist twice a year. So I usually go in the summer and then over Christmas break. All right, so I'm going to underline the word teeth and clean and healthy, and then brush and floss your teeth. Now, when I go to the dentist, I actually spend more time with the dental hygienist, excuse me. That's the person that she or he actually cleans your teeth. Then the dentist comes in and makes sure that there's not any problems, that everything looks right. If there is a problem, then they'll fix it. They're kind of like the bringing in the big dog. All right, number 3. You may want to have my phone number around just in case your house has a leaky pipe. My services come in handy when your house is having problems with the kitchen sink, faucet, or bathtub. All right, what do you think? We're talking about leaky pipes, kitchen sinks, any kind of faucet or bathtub. That makes me think of maybe water leaking into your house where it's not supposed to. And the person that I would call to fix that would be a plumber. Okay, the word plumber looks really weird because there's a B in it. Okay, the B is silent. All right, so let's look at the reasons why we think that this person is a plumber. Leaky pipe would be one. I would say kitchen sink, faucet, and bathtub. All right, we're good to go. We're going to flip it over. This paper asks, where were they? So we're probably going to be answering questions about maybe a place or a location. Number 1, Tiffany gets home from school late on Thursday. She puts her sheet music on the kitchen counter and her trumpet case in the living room. Tiffany's mom asks her, did Mrs. Anderson give you the music for the spring concert? Where was Tiffany, and how do you know? Well, okay, so she got home late from school, so she probably went somewhere after school. She didn't go straight home. All right, she had sheet music, which is the paper with the music notes on it, and she had a trumpet case. Then her mom asks a question about Mrs. Anderson. I'm assuming that's the music teacher, giving her music for a spring concert. So where do you think Tiffany was? I'm thinking that maybe she was at trumpet practice or music practice. Okay, we're going to call it trumpet practice because they said that specifically. Right, and just like on the last page, I'm just going to underline my proof. So we're going to say she got home late from school. She had sheet music and a trumpet case. And they're talking about a spring concert. Lots of things that make me think she was at practice. Right, number 2. Sam gets out of the car and takes his sleeping bag and a bag of clothes out of the trunk. As he walks toward the front door, he turns around to wave goodbye to his friend Michael in the back seat. "That was so fun," Sam says, "but next time I get to sleep in the top bunk." Where was Sam? How do you know? Okay, so Sam looks like he was in a car and someone was dropping him off back at home. He had a sleeping bag and a bag of clothes, so maybe like a duffel bag or a suitcase type thing. He was with his friend, and it looks like they slept in bunk beds. So all of those clues make me think that maybe they were at some type of camp, like a summer camp or a Boy Scout camp, something like that. If it were just a sleepover, I don't think they would have mentioned a sleeping bag. I don't know. I could be wrong. All right, so if you want to put sleepover, you can. I'm not going to say that that would be wrong. All right, so he had a sleeping bag and a bag of clothes. And then they talked about bunk beds. All right, number 3, Brittany's mom walks into the kitchen wearing her sun hat and a pair of old shoes. "Those vegetable plants are growing by leaps and bounds," she exclaims to Brittany as she takes off a dirty glove and wipes a smudge of dirt off her face. Where was Brittany's mom, and how do you know? Okay, so she had a sun hat on and some old shoes. She was talking about vegetable plants and how they had been growing and growing. She had on dirty gloves and had dirt on her face. All of those clues tell me that she was probably out in the yard working on her vegetable garden. We're going to just say yard, or you could put garden if you want. Same thing. Okay, so the proof we talked about. Sun hat. Pair of old shoes. Vegetable plants. Dirty glove. And dirt on her face. Lots of proof on that one. All right, that's it for this video. I will post Tuesday in just a second.